Three of the four pillars of the Constitution are under attack. The recent budget seeks to destroy property ownership, freedom of speech seems at daily risk, and now the rule of law is in the firing line as the government looks to restrict trial by jury. Determining innocence or guilt by a jury trial is an essential defence of freedom. The police, prosecutors and judges are all in the pay of the state, influenced by the culture of officialdom and led by members of the establishment. Starmer has good reason to dislike juries, for they humiliated him when he prosecuted 32 journalists as the Director of Public Prosecutions for the crime of receiving information from officials. Juries found them not guilty, and the final cases collapsed. But it was a concerted assault on the freedom of the press to prevent embarrassment for future governments, which was only seen off by jury trials.
Keir Starmer found himself in a real crisis after the shocking revelations that shocked the entire Labour Party. A series of catastrophic mistakes and pressure from all sides plunged him into panic. Will he be able to save the situation before the party suffers a crushing defeat? Let's see if he can overcome this ordeal. We will delve into the important discoveries that caused this chaos. The leader of the Labour Party demands an explanation, and this is not just a formality, it is a cry for help. Get ready, this is a real shock. If you think Starmer's PMQ's speech was a failure, wait until you find out what's going on inside the Labour Party. This is not just an attempt to minimize the damage, it is a complete panic that has engulfed everyone. Every inconclusive answer only makes the situation worse, and fear is in the air. Now the question is, how many more mistakes will happen before the party collapses into the abyss? The headquarters of the Labour Party is in complete chaos. Employees are running back and forth, desperately trying to find at least some kind of coordinated response. But all their efforts only make the situation worse.
Sir Keir Shiver and Rachel Freeze could have pensioners' blood on their hands this winter. They've cruelly cut the winter fuel payment to save around £1.4 billion. Money that's already been spent more than twice over so they could pay their union mates. This was the moment Labour officially consigned some pensioners to a freezing cold death.
Ayes to the right, 228. The noes to the left, 348.
And don't take my words for it that pensioners will die. Take the Labour Party's own report, OK? That revealed as many as 4,000 old people could be killed as a result. Just one Labour MP voted against it, John Trickett. 53 gutless cowards abstained, including Diane Abbott, apparently, of all people. They obviously feared losing the Labour whip more than the threat of elderly people shivering to death in their own homes this winter.
It feels like you're watching a car crash in slow motion. You can't look away, even though deep down you know it's going to end in a real disaster. And that's the real problem. No one seems to realize the seriousness of what is happening. One representative of the Labour Party declares with full confidence that the accusations are absolutely groundless, while another, clearly panic-stricken, admits that mistakes were made, but immediately tries to justify himself, claiming that their words were taken out of context. It's complete chaos, and the situation is only getting worse by the minute. Political commentators are shocked by this crisis. One analyst sarcastically remarked, "I've seen more organized reactions in kindergarten during a snack, but can you blame them for that? This is simply absurd."
To build a fairer and more equal world, and we need to start with a new economic model, where those that can pay more do pay more. The top 5%, where corporations pay their fair share.
It looks like real chaos is reigning here. The situation is becoming more and more critical, and recent personnel changes in the party are beginning to affect its work with terrifying force. There are too many new faces in the PR team, and their apparent lack of experience in managing crises of this magnitude is striking. But here's what really worries the Labour Party. Is this really just the beginning? There are dark rumours in Westminster that even more compromising information may surface in the coming days, and this is causing real horror. Every time an employee's phone rings, there is panic and fear in his eyes. What new stream of trouble is about to hit them? It is becoming more and more obvious every day that the Labour Party is not just unable to cope with the current situation, it is teetering on the edge of a precipice. and a fall can happen at any moment.
Just getting back to this defence budget, Starmer knew he wasn't going to put that up. I don't care what anyone says. He will have predicted, he'll have enough experts whispering in his ear and saying this is the situation. He more than implied that, you know, the defence departments were going to get a fair share of money. They were going to be up in the ante. There was going to be new investment with them. Bearing in mind the decline they've been in for the last 12 years or so, and it ain't going to happen. And you know what? He knew it wasn't going to happen. That almost verges on lies.
They are desperately trying to stop this huge leak, but it's like trying to plug a dam with chewing gum. Hopeless and absurd. The main question that torments everyone. How long will this nightmare last before major changes take place? Is a wave of resignations expected? Are there any deep problems with the management? Or will the party just try to ride out the storm and hoping that it will subside? One thing is for sure, the opposition parties are watching this chaos with greedy delight, ready to take advantage of the weaknesses of the Labour Party at any moment. While the Labour Party is fighting for its survival, its opponents, like predatory beasts, are preparing to attack.
I got called with the Speaker to ask a question in PMQs. Well, the Prime Minister was not going to answer my direct question in any way at all, and all those Labour MPs screaming and shouting at me, gosh, it felt like being back in the European Parliament. I really rather enjoyed it. But the serious point, of course, and he's right, that with a population that has exploded over the course of the last few years, the previous government did not build enough prison places. But the whole question of early release, I mean, what is the point of a sentence if people are let out after only serving 40% of it? One of the people released from one of the northern prisons yesterday had, wait for it, 109 previous convictions. So that person, I would say, is...
Starmer and his team urgently need to regroup because the political storm is far from over and it can collapse with renewed vigor at any moment. Pressure is mounting on Starmer, and his political opponents are using this scandal to demand his resignation with fierce tenacity. Opposition parties, like a pack of wolves, hunt their prey, leaving no chance. Conservative Party leaders have openly and ruthlessly criticised Starmer for his inability to address key voter concerns and for failing to contain his anger, urging him to resign. But it's not just Conservatives who are targeting Starmer. The situation worsened when a disgruntled Labour councillor, disappointed with the leadership, defected to the Conservative Party, further undermining the already fragile position of the Labour Party.
Yesterday we witnessed some extraordinary celebratory scenes outside Britain's prisons where in some cases serious career criminals were released. And this to make way for, yes, rioters, but equally those who've said unpleasant things on Facebook and elsewhere on social media. Does the Prime Minister understand? There is a growing feeling of anger in this country that we are living through two-tier policing and a two-tier justice system.
Now, every day, it seems to him that he is standing on the edge of a precipice, and the calls for his resignation are getting louder and more insistent. Local Conservative associations are furiously attacking the Labour Party, accusing it of completely ignoring the needs of residents and local interests. This harsh criticism resonates with voters who look at Starmer's leadership with bewilderment and confusion, as if realizing for the first time that their hopes are crumbling. The scandal is rapidly undermining the authority of the Labour Party, forcing undecided voters to leave its ranks, and even long-time supporters are beginning to doubt their loyalty, as if their trust in the party is about to collapse into the abyss. If Starmer cannot turn the situation around quickly, the Labour Party faces a catastrophic defeat in the upcoming elections, and this feeling hangs over him like a shadow.
Last night, time and time again, Rishi Sunak was clobbering you over the head with that £2,000 tax line. It took you almost half an hour to call it garbage. What on earth took you so long?
What matters is the facts. None of our plans involve tax rises for working people, and I'll spell it out. No income tax rises, no national insurance, no VAT. But what emerged from last night, and this is a very important takeaway, is that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, with his back against the wall, desperately trying to defend their record in office, resorted to lies, and he knows he was lying. And I don't say that lightly. Lying about our plans, lying about waiting lists, and lying about votes. And therefore the choice at the election is even clearer now, which is to turn our back, turn a page on the lies, the division and the chaos of the last 14 years and rebuild the country with Labour.
The main question now is whether any influential figures will leave the party before it finally collapses. Cracks are beginning to appear in the united front of the party, and rumours of a split are beginning to spread behind closed doors, like poisonous fumes poisoning the atmosphere. The vultures circle around, waiting for Starmer to give up, ready to pounce on their prey at any moment. Some influential figures in British politics are openly demanding his immediate resignation, increasing the pressure on Starmer to the limit, and this pressure is becoming unbearable. As external pressure increases, the Labour Party is facing a deep crisis that threatens its very existence. What do you think about this video? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you later.